Hello everybody, welcome to Honestly Rated. Today we're going to be talking about your favorite walking, talking light bulb, High Volt. High Volt is a very under talk about character, and it drew interest to me when I saw someone asked to do him. So, here I am. Um, as you know, I pick from the comments, but this time I kind of want to do a little different. So, if you want to see your Skylander or a Skylander you want to see next, just like someone else's comment if they have it, or obviously put yours down. And whatever one I see with most likes is probably going to be the one I do next. Not probably, it will be. So, do a little different here. I won't pick, you guys pick. So, just letting you know that now. And, yeah, High Volt. What can I say without getting a little too much in there before we go into, like actual move analysis? I can kind of see why people don't talk about him. I can say he's a very blank character. He feels like a Skylander, but at the same time feels like one that wasn't really thought out too much. And I'll keep it there, but a lot of his moves kind of consist of either the same thing or they don't really have a lot of variety to it. And again, we'll get in there. But first, we're going to talk about how he actually became a Skylander, just for funsies. Just to say, how did High Vault even become one? Well, at first, he was kind of just as a security guard, kind of, as that's really what he did. He just kind of checked between the outlands and actual Skylands, make sure that things that come through weren't, bad. Eventually, at one point, he did notice a fucking encampment with Chaos's minions building up some big evil shit, Chaos, he can't stop doing that. And he went over to Eon, said, hey, you might want to check this out, Buster. They went to go, and he joined in with the Skylanders to go fight it. Kind of the same contrary shit that you normally see with most Skylanders for their background, but at least this time he didn't fight them all. He asked for help, so take that as a lesson, guys. Don't forget to ask for help if you're going to take down very big, evil organizations, because if you go in alone, you'll probably die. So, yeah, thank you, High Vault, but we should get into his moves, because in the beginning, they're kind of unique, and I do like them, but when we get to it later on, not really, so let's go. Here we are at his starting moves with Static Spear and Shock It Shield, which I kind of like that name, I won't lie. These two are pretty basic moves for a beginner one, except for Shock It Shield. The Spear is a basic 3-hit combo. It goes wackadoodle crazy. That's all you really need to know. Basic attacking move. Shock It Shield, though, is more of a counterattack, which I find very interesting. I don't see many of those for Skylander, especially one for the beginning. It does put a use to his shields that aren't shield bashes, and throwing the shield. This is like he actually uses a shield for a shield reason, which is to block himself from taking damage. And another reason I find this one a lot more interesting is because it has weird properties to it that I really can't explain. One of them being is that sometimes when you put out the shield, it kind of goes away faster than normal. Sometimes you will pull it out, you can hold the button, and it'll just auto-release. I don't know if that's because I'm jumping or something's hitting me, but it shouldn't work like that because you should be able to hold down your shield for a good amount of time before anything happens. And it'll take in the damage. The more damage dealt to it, more of a knockback will happen. So, with a couple hits, you're just getting damage, right? You're just blocking damage, doing a little damage back. When you get a lot more hits in, or a lot more heavy damage dealing hits, they will actually send opponents back. And I'm pretty sure if a lot more damage happens, so you have a big crowd, a bigger knockback will happen. And as also that is a little finicky at times, I would feel. Sometimes I'll get hit by at least 7 things, I'll shoot it out, and nothing happens. I know it's also based on charge time too, so maybe that's it. But, I feel like when you get hit by a bunch of things and it's supposed to charge up your shit, I feel like 7 hits is a good amount to just cause a good knockback. But, hey, that's just me. So, first 2 moves, again, basics, whack a slam, does pretty okay damage for someone that is going to be a supercharger, which I didn't even mention that. This is history in the making right here. He is our first supercharger on the list, so good job, High Vault. You won't be high on the list, but at least you were first. So, nice job. Next up on the chopping block, we have Traveling Light, which is actually his other move. I don't think we've also seen a Skylander like this so far on our journey here, of the next move being literally it. Unless you count Stink Bomb, but I don't really count them, top half, bottom half, whatever. We're here to talk about the actual move. So, what does this move grant us? This final move that he can learn is going to allow us to get a lot more of a faster movement speed while having a line of damage. You know, they cannot play Conga with this shit, so they're always going to get hit. And it does 9 damage. It's a very good control, like, minion control thing. You know, like chompies, bone chompies, stuff like that. The little fucking cockroaches. Kill things like that pretty easily. And it's also a very good move just to get away from things, especially in the later ends when we can actually upgrade it, which is going to be a big point of contention. If you like this move, you might have more fun with the upgrades in the future. If you despise this move and you don't find it to be useful in the slightest, we should click off now, because a lot of his moves are going to be based off of this. Not even a lot. I don't really think there's many upgrades that deal with his shield or just basic melee, except for random things later in here. It is all based around him and putting down this damn spear for the conga line. So, letting you know that now. And it's going to be something I bring up later because it doesn't feel right to only have it like this. And it's kind of why I think he's more of like a blink character and not someone that they really fully like fledged out. So, yeah. It's fine. I do like how it does make you move a little faster. And the 9 damage is a crazy no, but as knowing of the upgrades in the future, it does get a little bit more useful if you pick the right path. The next two up is going to be Quick Currents, which allows you to go faster with Traveling Light, even though it's already faster, and Insulated Iron, which upgrades your armor to help whatever. You know, you're taking less damage. I don't think I really need to explain that much. So, now the move that did make you go faster makes you go a little bit more faster, and this already shows what I'm talking about. It's going to it's going to get a lot of upgrades, and it's immediately after that one, so you got to buckle in. And the other one is just a defense upgrade, not damage. Cool, I guess, right? Like, I feel like I ran out of ways to just kind of describe how I feel about it. But if you've never seen one of these episodes before and this is your first one, I personally don't like damage upgrades. I'm going to let this one slide, though, because it is one of the first ones, and I do feel like you should have at least a couple just to fill her in. And I understand that they cannot make fully unique moves every single time. So, it's fine for right now. And I personally really like the armor upgrade to it. If I had to go on a really quick side tangent, I just like to say that for Skylanders, I do wish that for things that do give you like new armor or new like weapon skins, like stuff like that, I wish it was kind of like toggleable if you could see it or not. But that's more of like a customization thing on my end, so we won't get into it. But just, you know, quick side note, it would be cool to see the other ones, just be able to play as them if you wanted to. And it's also kind of, okay, I keep going on a side tangent, but it's something I learned while looking at his facts. He was supposed to be a light character, and this really fits in with his light coloring, just this basic white and gold. So I wonder if they really just intended him to be a light character, and then kind of just swapped it last second to tech because they had Asteroid Boy. So I don't know, just something to think about. Last on our primary path is Amped Lamp. This allows you to charge down your spear and send a great shockwave to many enemies. This is going up to 83 damage, at least at level 14, and it allows for knockback and just, you know, a little quick damage. And I guess I did technically lie. I guess there is a little bit of nuance in here. And this is probably like the last most unique move in his moveset, I won't lie. So, if you don't think this is unique, we're not going anywhere crazy after this. This is kind of the end point for it. Everything else you'll kind of just expect and be like, alright, I guess that makes sense. But I think it's a good move. In the beginning, I thought the charge time wasn't too long. A little bit more of playing as them, though, you do kind of realize that it does take a good bit. And sometimes it's a little wonky. Sometimes it just kind of auto does it. So, like, you get to a point and you let go and it will just continue the crash. Sometimes you let it go and it just fully stops it, and it's a little annoying. The last thing I'd just like to mention, it's not more of like a honesty thing, but it is just still unique to see that this move that is like a light, like, you know, like a big ass light bulb thing, still kind of fits in with his whole light character ordeal. And I still find that unique. I really wonder how far they got into like the design process of him until they were like, yeah, let's make him tech instead. I don't know any of that, so still pretty unique to see a character like that, and I wonder if that was just one of the basic moves that he was going to have in the past. Next up, we have Light Fighter, which is supposed to use powerful close range attacks. So let's see how they do that. So we're bringing in the light and stun shock. Um, I like to say this one's still partially part of his throwing out electricity move, and you could probably see why. So the first one allows you to bring in enemies closer to you if you hit them with the beam. Now, something that I kind of want to bring up here now because it has more relevance is that when you do bring out this beam, it's kind of weird on how it throws it. Sometimes I've seen it go behind enemies, sometimes I've seen it go in front of enemies, sometimes I see it go right beside an enemy. And I wish that when they did program this move, it would always go behind. Because when moves like this need to hit the beam, it's kind of hard when you throw out your, your fucking spear, and it lands in front of them. Because you're not going to get that close range hit. And even with that close range hit, the enemies coming closer to you, I don't find it that good. Now, why did I group in the other one? Well, the other one kind of works in the same way. Every time you throw out your spear now, you will have your first move of your spear attack do this little like shock electricity, and it'll stun enemies. I think someone has to give, you know, Toys for Bob, Activision, like some reading glasses, and then give them a dictionary. Because when I hear stun, I think, like a cartoon character when they get hit by an anvil with the stars going above their head and the birds going doo 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 doo. Like I'm thinking they're getting stuck there. Like they're not moving at all. What it realistically is just they stop, they move. Their move just don't work, and you can run away again. Now you can kind of loop this sometimes into bringing in the enemies, hitting them with the stun move. They can't do anything. Running away, doing the stun move again, bringing them in, hit them with the attack again. You can loop it, and you see it right here. But these stupid fucking sheep wizards didn't allow me to. And I guess that's fine, but I don't really find it that fun, and I also don't really find having enemies really close to you to be that great. Sometimes it's really overwhelming, and sometimes when you do just want to run away, let's say you are low on health, you're bringing the enemies towards you, and that's not good. Highvolt might have a high defense stat, but he isn't very good at running away. So you really have to try to use his shield in there, and sometimes it just gets a lot more convoluted than it needed to be. And I definitely think the bottom path has a way better spear upgrade than this one, and we'll eventually talk about it. Now on to his last one, which I honestly could have grouped into the other one, and the bottom path is also going to feel the same way, but I don't really like talking about 3 at once. I like the 2-for-1 special, not really the 3-for-1 special, only being because then, a lot of side tangents can happen, and I'm very good at Yap. I'm very fluent in Japanese, but this one is just higher crits. We've seen it in Stink Bomb, so that's cool. Top path, after that, right, like, let's just do, like, a little quick analysis of the top path. Pretty, okay, I guess. It does say, like, using your close power, close path, electricity stuff, and I guess I can see it, right? Like, you bring enemies closer to you, you're going to use your melee more, you're going to use your shield more, stuff like that, but, it really didn't really help out a lot of the, close range stuff with powerful electricity attacks. The first one just brought in enemies. The other one did bring in, I guess, a little bit more powerful things. I still feel like the shock would probably be more useful, like the slam down to hold the square button. And this last one doesn't do anything like that. This just increases my crits, which you're watching the gameplay now, so you tell me. You be the judge, right? I won't be the judge this time. You think this is more crits than normal? Again, you tell me. But yeah, top path, fine. Again, another one called like lightweight or whatever it was called in the beginning. Again, fits in with this whole light theme. Maybe he could have been a way better character if they just did it like that. And maybe they just really couldn't think of anything. Maybe the due date was done for him or something, and they just had to like speed run things to do, easily programmed things to do, and which sucks because I do really like the design of Highvolt, but I think these are more topics for the end. So, top path, not better than the bottom path, but the bottom path isn't also really a shining example of a path. So, let's get into it. Let's go through it, and let's just try to wrap this thing up a little quicker. Next up is Light and Shining Armor, which is supposed to help the Electric Beam, which the top path also helped the Electric Beam, so I don't really know. Next up, we have Bright Idea, and Everything is Relative. Everything is Relative is the thing that probably matters the most, and that slows down enemies. So, instead of bringing them closer, you let them go farther away, which I feel like is more of an intended path for Electric Beam. At least for me, when I use the Electric Beam, I'm running to the opposite end. I am definitely not trying to get closer to the enemies, especially with something so shrinky-dinky. of damage, I'm going farther away. And maybe some people really do like up the close-up combat and just kind of wailing things in, but if we have to go into higher difficulties, like hard or even nightmare per se, you really don't want enemies to be up in your face, especially a lot of them at once. What something you do want is just to allow the enemies to freely move around slower than ever and allow you for a free escape. And I think the slow beam does exactly that. Then the first one is, well, what the path does. It's supposed to make your beam stronger. And they did it. And instead of doing 9, it's doing 14 now, so yippee cock-a-doodle-doo. That's really it for the first one. There's not much I can really do with that material, you know? Not many jokes, not many things, but it does show that there's another upgrade point. And I think this is kind of the point of contention where I just say, me no likey are upgrades, me likey unique things, not damage upgrades and defense upgrades and stuff like that. So we'll get over that spiel real quick. Last up is unbreakable, which is allowing you to have more health. The only thing I can really tell you about this is that, one, I don't like it because I don't like upgrades like those, and two, that at level 18 you at least I'll have roughly 800 health, which is cool. A point that I just want to make here is just kind of telling you how I feel about his character and why I feel like it's so blank since we're at the end here, basically. His two paths feel very similar to each other. His primary felt pretty promising, you know, with the upgrades. They felt like, you know, like his standard ones. They didn't feel anything too shy. But when it came to the paths, you could kind of see that they were kind of just using the same thing over and over. Two of the upgrades for both paths, or, okay, one on one, right? They were just random upgrades, right? Like, these did not need to happen. We had health and crits, which maybe was because of them switching them off of light, right? The other one was the electricity tether thing did something different. One was slow, one was bringing in. And then the other one was kind of miscellaneous. That one helped with the spear a little bit, and then the other one didn't. I don't really know how to say it. Like it did more damage, I guess. Like I guess you could say like they both did more damage, but it didn't feel right. It doesn't, like, something to me just does not feel right about that. I feel like there could have been a lot more creativity to it. I feel like they could have done a lot more things, and maybe they did. And the one note I just want to end on with that is that maybe if he wasn't switched to tech, his character would have been so much better. All of his moves almost have a reference to light in some way. Yes, he's a light bulb, and I guess tech can fit into that, but I definitely think light was his calling, and I feel like they really should have left into that, because now he feels very bare-boned on his moves. Then last up, we have Refuse, which allows you to regain some health when you are blocking. This retains 10 HP per hit. It happens right when you hit red, and it stops roughly, okay, at level 18, roughly stops around 250 health. Not really half your health, because remember, roughly at 18, you have like 800 health. For a soul gem, this is pretty bad. It reminds me of the other person that used to have the life health one, where it was so little to the point where you're like, well, does this really help? It really doesn't. And I think they should have just made it so you got at least half your health back, or more, or just allowed you to get health back. It would be pretty overpowered, but I feel like a soul gem is supposed to be meant like that. It's supposed to be something that is pretty strong and just kind of makes a character a lot more fun to use. Maybe just not all of his health, but maybe like 50, right? Like 50 feels good. This is like a quarter of his HP. Like, that's pretty abysmal health regeneration. Like, it's cool, but really not doing anything for me, man. Like, you're saving me a couple seconds of seeing the Grim Reaper. Or I guess you could say Grim Creeper, because I feel like he would fill in that role, right? And with that, I checked out this light bulb's many tricks, which was not many. So, where do I have to put him on the list? Well, I'm going to give him a 2. Basically on gameplay design. That's only on gameplay design. And because he's so boring. I don't think he, like, sucks. I don't think he's a character that can't, like, kill things. I definitely think his defense and health is there if you go, you know, with the bottom path. He can take a lot of hits. He's not going to die pretty easily. But I just find him so boring. The moves almost all catering to his electricity move, which isn't the funnest move, right? Like, are you really having fun going left, right, up, down, and just having the beam hit things? Not really. So I definitely wish that they would have worked on maybe applying more things to the shield, playing more things to just his basic attack, right? Like, the one different thing we got was just the hold down square and you can do a big slam. Like, that's it, realistically. So, very fundamentally character-wise, yucky. But I will throw in a 1.5, which would be the lowest on this series, if you allow me to just kind of just be appalled by him, you know? Just knowing the fact that he was supposed to be a light character and didn't make it, just to come out with this was a shame. And I find it to be the greatest insult in Skylanders history so far. So, I'm sorry for whoever rejected him. I definitely thought he was going to be more fun. I was really hoping that this would have been like an underrated pick right here, and I was about to find a hidden gem and talk about why he was so good. But the only thing I figured out is that he's kind of boring, and I wouldn't want to talk to him for more than 5 minutes. This has been Honestly Rated. Leave down who you want to see next, and like the person you want to see next if you see a pick that you do like, because I'm picking off of you. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Please have a good rest of your day, and please have a good rest of any day. I'll see you in the next one, hopefully, and subscribe. Peace.